So enough of the theory, I'm back in Power BI Desktop, and I'm not back in the course project, but in a project you can find attached to this lecture. In this project, I'm in the report view, which is wrong, so let's go to the data view. And here we can find two tables now, revenue and units sold, but we'll come back to these tables in a few minutes. Because for the moment, I want to dive a bit deeper into DAX and into the data view interface and also into this calendar function I was just referring to. Now, as a first step, I want to go to the official documentation and find out more about functions and also about this calendar function. Because here, this is the link I was referring to on the slide already, these are the official docs. This is the DAX reference. And in this reference, in the left part, you can find some interesting topics. DAX functions, DAX syntax, operators, queries. So all kind of topics we had a look at on the slides already. So you should be familiar with these topics a bit at this stage. And therefore, I want to dive specifically into functions from now on. Because here you can see the different function types we had a look at on the slides also, at least the core types. And as I said, I want to use the calendar function now. Now to find a specific function, you can either navigate into it if you know the function type by heart, so date and time functions, here you can find the calendar function, or alternatively, if you're not sure where you can find it, you can just filter it, enter calendar up here, then you can find the calendar function here, DAX functions, date and time functions. Let's click right here, and this brings us to this page here. There you can find the general syntax of that function. We know how it works. Here is the function name, the parenthesis, and then we have to specify a starting date and an ending date. And as you guessed it already maybe, this function allows us to create a calendar column with the start date defined by us and the ending date defined by us. If we go a bit further down though, you can see that we can be a bit more precise about the starting and ending date. For us, this means we will not use the calendar function only, but use the date function once and twice inside our calendar function. Enough of the talking, let's go back to Power BI Desktop and let's see how this works now. For this, in the data view, I did not select a specific column in the existing tables because I want to create a new table here. For this, I'm in the table tools, and there we can now select new table. The new table is generated in the right part in the fields, and what we can do first is we can give this table a name. Let's maybe call it calendar. Now, as we saw in the official documentation, the calendar function works with CAL. Here we have it. We have the calendar function here as second option. Calendar auto would be the same function in the end. It would just define the starting and ending dates based on the model automatically. We don't want that. We want to specify the dates on our own. So let's select calendar and press tab. And now for the starting and ending date, as we saw it, we will use another function, the date function. This one right here. You can always find the description of the function, by the way, here. Here we can see that the date function returns the specified date in the date time format, and this format is needed right here in our calendar function. Therefore, we again press tab, and now we can specify a year. So let's say we want to get started in 1990 maybe, on January 1st. Let's close the parenthesis now. Now we have to enter a comma. You can always see what you have to do down here with these hints. Quite helpful. And then we add the date function once again down here. And again, we specify the year, the ending year now. This might be 2020, December 31st. Don't forget to add two parentheses to close everything. And now with enter, we see nothing at first. You notice Power BI Desktop behavior, but in the right part, we can now click onto our calendar table, and here we have the new column automatically named date, as we created a calendar, and the calendar, well, kind of contains dates. By the way, if you click into the date here, you can see the date hierarchy thing. I will not dive into hierarchies at this stage. Hierarchies will be covered in detail in the next module when we finally create visualizations. So for the moment, let's just accept that we created the calendar starting on the 1st of January at 12 AM. And if we scroll down all to the end here, we see we have 11,000 rows. You see it ends on December 31st. Okay. That's nice. However, I'm not happy with what I can see right here, because I would like to display the date only and the corresponding weekday, not this time information here. For that, we can change the way our date is displayed right here. To do so, we select the column. Now the column tools are opened. By the way, to unselect the column tools, you can simply select the table right here. Then you are back in the table tools. Quick side note, so let's again select the column to open these column tools. And here you can now change the name of the column you currently selected. We also see the data type, date, time here. You can change this, but in our case, this is totally fine. And here we have the format. The format can be changed in lots of different ways for dates and times. You can see common formats, date time formats, and if you scroll down, you see lots of different options. Here, I would like to select a date format, and actually this first one with the day and the date is exactly what I want, so let's use this one. And now we have some updated information, which looks a bit better already. So the date column looks fine now, and in your own projects, you might also have the case that you want to create this calendar and this date specific information on your own, because the idea would be in the end that you can now interact with this date column and extract specific information required for your visual. For example, you might want to have information for the different quarters throughout all these years. For that, you can now create another column which contains only the quarters. How does this work? Well, we again leave the column tools and go back to the table tools and create a new column here. Now, to dive a bit deeper at this stage, new column here means we create a new so-called calculated column. So an entirely new column with all the rows. Later in this module, we'll also explore measures. These work different. They're also using DAX, but the purpose and the way we see the results is a lot different from this new column feature. Therefore, let's stick to this one for the moment. Let's select it. And now, I would like to name this DAX formula here differently. Let's say we call this date quarter with our naming convention we just had a look at. And date quarter now should return the quarters of the years that we have in the date column. For this, we have to refer to this date column, and there are lots of different ways to do so. The easiest way would be to simply enter date right here. And you see we have lots of options. We have a lot of date-specific functions if we scroll down here, but we also have here our reference to our date column. You can see an interesting thing here though. We have date, so the date reference in the square brackets, and we also have the reference to the entire table with the single quotation marks. As you learned, this is only required if you have a space in the name of your table, which is not the case for us. And additionally, we don't need to refer to our table here as we are creating this column in the same table. So the date column is in the same column as our newly created column. Therefore, we know that we can refer to date like this. So we can also make this a lot shorter and simply say square brackets, date, and tab. And now with pressing tab, you will see all these different options here. Day, month, month number, quarter, quarter number, and so on. And I would like to have this quarter now. And if I press tab and now enter again, you see we have quarter 1. And if we scroll down a bit further, we have quarter 2 and so on. With that, we can easily visualize quarterly information. By the way, little note at this stage, in case you didn't have these options that you just saw in the video, make sure to go to File, right here, Options and Settings, Options once again, and here in Data Load, Auto Date Time should be applied. This should be ticked, this box. You can also check this right here in Time Intelligence in the current file. If you're using the presets shared in the course, this is automatically activated, just in case you're using different project files here. So let's cancel this and let's go back to our project. So these are the basics behind such calendars. As I said, we will dive a lot deeper into this in the advanced part of this course. But for the moment, you saw that you can create such calendar tables. And very importantly, you also saw these table tools with the new column feature. And you also saw the column tools here with the formatting option. Additionally, we also saw that we can access information stored in other columns with that dot notation here. Side note also, mark as date table, if you might ask yourself, will also be covered in the advanced part of this course. So you're not lost here, you will learn everything you need about the Power BI desktop core concepts. However, to be honest, we actually have these two tables here, revenue and units sold, and this calendar table was just a bit of a practice here. Therefore, we don't need this information later in the report view. For this, we can unhide it. So let's go to the calendar, right-click it, and press Hide in Report View. We did this already earlier in the course, but still, now you can apply this feature. And in the next lectures, I want to dive deeper into DAX, and I want to focus on to this revenue and units sold tables then.